What's up, YouTube? It's Saiyan here, coming at you with another deck profile. This is more like a reminder to myself, deck tech type of video than anything else, because what we're looking at today is versus 2 PCG. Um, but we're looking at a deck that's not currently in the meta because you can't play it due to the restrictions of the game. Um, I think it was sort of end of last summer, maybe autumn, when Upper Deck decided to basically um, introduce a quote unquote rotation into the card game. Not really rotation, cards don't rotate out. What they do is they decide which sets are legal to be used. And whilst obviously it's an absolutely brilliant environment for brewers out there, if you just want to have a deck and carry on running that deck, it might not be the environment for you. But then again, versus 2PCG was always about the brewers, I think, as much as um, one of the main reasons why this restriction came out was because certain decks ran away, like Dark Phoenix, for example, the Ram deck. Just ran away with being the dominant deck in the format. Plus, also the real problem that I've seen with 2PCG is that because you got the time limit, it's very difficult to play rush decks. Even a semi-equipped deck is normally able to defend itself well enough to be able to pull enough time out to basically end up on a draw or maybe even take a win away. And just basically the hour-long time limit is not enough for the 3 matches. This game is quite in depth, in my opinion, and obviously it's not the case for every single player, but I did have difficulties adjusting to that 1 hour time frame. With Magic, it's not a problem. In Magic, if you have a rush deck, you are gonna rush your opponent down. If you're, I don't know, if you're playing Burn, for example, or if you're playing the new Phoenix deck in Modern, um, or you're playing a super fast combo deck in Legacy turn 1, turn 2 combo deck, then the hour time limit that you get is more than enough for anything. This game, um, if you can defend your main character in ways that your opponent can attack them each turn, um, that's just basically it. You can defend yourself for long enough, and obviously draw the time win to yourself. But again, loads of rambling about nothing realistically. What I do want to show you guys is this really cool Jungle Hunter deck that I have seen. Again, it was probably end of last summer or midsummer last year on one of the forums where 2PCG is moving on. And basically the build is around Jungle Hunter. What we really want to use Jungle Hunter for, obviously what he's best at, is a really, really, really good draw engine. And how can you get loads of solo attacks in so that you can get out the level 2 Jungle Hunter card as well. And then he can pump himself. You can use a green to put +2/+1/+1 counters on Jungle Hunter, or you can even amplify for 4/+1/+1 counters. Now I don't have the errata card again, as I said, I didn't send away the back of the rulebook, but nevertheless the cards are still usable. So I'm going to be using this guy as my main character, and what we're going to be focusing on this deck is basically creatures / swarm abilities. Again, this is not my deck idea. I honestly can't remember who came up with the idea, but when I saw it in one of the forums, I was like, this is a really cool deck, I really like it, so I put it together, and I'm showcasing it now because I'm going to take this deck apart. Me and my friend were just going to be playing Alien Predator decks against each other because that's what we're mostly interested in. Plus, I kind of follow suit. I have bought the expansions all the way up to, I don't know what else came out around Predator. I did get obviously the Deadpool set, as you could see. I had the deck opening video. If you haven't checked it out, please check it out now. But I also had the New Mutants, I had the Brotherhood, and I think those were the last few ones that I got. The only one I didn't have was the Monsters Unleashed up until that point. But pretty much anything that came out since last summer I don't have, which are quite a few. They really have ramped up putting out these small collections, and well, Versus 2 PCG was probably like the 10th different card game that I was collecting, so something had to drop. Um, this is where we are. But either way, showcasing the deck. As I said, let's jump into this bad boy. So for starters, again, as I said, we got Jungle Hunter level 1, level 2. Really well-rounded main character, in my opinion. The level 1 obviously has a more of a defensive stat base with a 2-4, but you do have the range, which is really useful, and of course 6 wound is really good to have on your main character. And basically using a space, both the level 1 and the level 2, then allows you to remove a character in an enemy KO pile. If it was a human, you draw 2 cards. If it was an alien, you draw 3 cards. You don't get anything for androids, so suck on that. Needs 4 XP to level up. Every time you stun with a solo attack, he gains an XP, and then when he levels up, again, he becomes a beatstick 7/6, plus he can pump himself permanent +1/+1 counter. So really, really cool main character. Starting with our supporting character lineup, we're gonna jump right into the middle there, and we are running the full 8 Adolescent Xenomorph. And I absolutely love this card. I have loved it from the moment since I've opened the Alien box. It's just a really cool little card. Not only is it a 2/2 for 1, it's also a Legion card, so you can have up to 8 in your deck. And every time you play an additional 1 to the board, when this character appears, put a +1/+1 counter on each other Adolescent Xenomorph on your side. So the more you play of this little guy, the more it's going to pump its little brothers and sisters up, which is really cool because it's really cheap, and you're looking for cheap attackers, cheap solo attackers, just trying to get the damage through. And the more you play, the more it pumps itself. Plus, don't forget, it's a creature with a swarm ability, and that's going to be important later. Then we run 3 copies of Solo, which arguably should be 4. But again, as I said, our main theme is definitely to have creatures. Solo is not a creature, but Solo is a great solo attacker. He can't team attack at all. Every time when a character on your side solo attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on it. So again, it's a really good pump engine, works super well with Jungle Hunter. We only have the 3 of, because ideally would probably like 1 early in the game, so we can start to pump our guys, particularly the Adolescent Xenomorphs, but it's not the end of the world if we don't get Solo. It's really a good card, but we have other means to pump our team anyway, so we're gonna be utilizing those mostly. For our 2-drop, we definitely need to have more creatures. Again, creature swarm. Leaping Xenomorph, the reason why I went with this was because he has 2 wounds and the ability that he gains flight during your turn. It's a very strong 2-drop, particularly with the 2 wounds. And again, it's creature swarm, so 3 of. But the big guy, and the reason why we don't run 4 solos, is because we definitely want to hit. Obviously, we want to hit Monkey, hit Monkey on turn 2. Super cool little card, a 2/3 for 2, which is not necessarily too strong, but he gives creatures on your side +2/+2. Remember, already we had 11 cards that were creatures, and we're only at turn 2. Plus, he can team attack with any main character, so if we are desperate, if we do need to take somebody out, you can technically attack him with him and Jungle Hunter together as a team. I would not recommend it. Try and protect Hit Monkey as much as you can, because he's the massive payoff why you would run this deck like this. For our 3 drops, we have Hellhound, another creature swarm, and we run the full play. So Hellhound is just super strong. I absolutely love this card. It's from the Predator expansion. Super amazing card. The durable effect can be quite useful, particularly against ping effects, but the monstrous ability is really, really good. While Hellhound is defending against a melee attack, team attack, it strikes back against everybody. Plus he has 2 wounds as well, so he can restand himself. So we definitely want the 4 of, because he's a beat stick. He's probably one of your best turn 3 cards. And again, a creature with swarm. Now, even though Jungle Hunter does give us a massive card advantage if we play him right and we are able to get those KOs, Electra is my spice in this deck. It wasn't included in the original card list. I do love Electra very much because, again, a 3-drop with 2 wounds, which is, again, very, very useful. Only a 3/4 compared to our Hellhound, which was a 4/4, but I don't think it... I mean, that 1 point of attack is not the end of the world, realistically. She can't be ranged attacked, and she can melee attack back row characters even while they're protected, which is a super, super good ability. For example, to take out hit monkeys on your opponent's side and things like that. And finally, she has the Paid Assassin ability as well, which basically, when she KOs an enemy back row defender, you draw a card. So again, just a little bit more card advantage, because card advantage is good in any game. And she is not a creature, obviously. She is femme fatale, but she's a really good draw engine, and it will be a shame not to run her. Now, one of the reasons why I was absolutely blown away by this deck was the inclusion of Lockjaw. Lockjaw, another creature, our first 4-drop, comes with 1 wound, a 4/6. So you would be thinking like, okay, well, he's a creature. Sure. Will be hopefully be on theme. But actually, when you play Lockjaw, when he appears, you may put any number of characters with a total cost of 3 or less from your hand onto your side. So for a 4-drop, you basically get 7 recruit value characters on your side. And imagine if you can play Lockjaw and you do have a number of adolescent xenomorphs in your hand. Don't forget, every time one of these bad boys come down, they're going to be pumping the little guys that are already down on the field, so there will be another 3 pump effect. Even if you just have the 1 down, but you drop another 3, that little guy will be a 5/5. Unfortunately, because they enter the game at the same time simultaneously, they won't get the bonus from it, but it's still a massive pump just for that 1 guy. With Hitmonkey out, that little 1-drop now became a 7/7. And just the general fact that you can drop multiple warriors. It doesn't have to be the 3 adolescent. You can also drop a Hellhound, you can drop an Electro, you can drop a Hitmonkey. It's just super good. Again, it's a creature, so it is on theme, but really just that board advantage that Lockjaw gives you is epic. And you guys, the Eagle Eye, might have noticed that obviously this is a proxy. Again, as I said, I just didn't buy the Monsters Unleashed set, although there were some really sweet cards in it. But that's one of the reasons why I don't have the Krakens, and I think Fing Fang Foom was in it as well. You know, just one of the major support characters from that. But Lockjaw, really good. Again, very much on theme. And one of the big payoffs, again, just being able to buff our teams to be super good, particularly following up a Lockjaw activation on turn 4. If on turn 5 you drop another Xenomorph, or you drop a solo even, but ideally you want to drop another Xenomorph. You then play Screeching Xenomorph, again a creature with Swarm, and it has this Screech ability for a blue. Put 2+1/+1 counters on a character with Swarm on your side on each and on each other character on your side with the same name. So again, we have the adolescent xenomorphs with Swarm, all 8 of them. We have leaping xenomorphs, and we have Hellhound as well. Plus, no, this is it. Plus the Screeching xenomorph itself. So when you get Screeching xenomorph down, try and activate that green ability immediately, and you get a massive bonus from this one guy. And this is why, again, as I mentioned, we're not that fussed about running that 4th copy of Solo. Yes, it is a very good card, and you could arguably take out Electra and put in a 4th Solo, maybe put in a 4th Lockjaw, or put in a 4th Screeching Xenomorph. It's definitely worthwhile, but I just wanted a little bit more draw engine. That's why we got the Electra in there. But the Screeching Xenomorph is just the cream de la cream. It just pumps all your swarm creatures with the same name, and we have a plethora of these guys, so we can take massive advantage of that activation. Okay, coming round to the beat sticks, we are running 2 dragons, probably one of the best 5-drops in the game. Now I don't know what new cards were printed, but definitely up until sort of like the New Mutants expansion, I would say one of the best 5-drop was definitely Dragon, because he has 3 wounds. It's a 7/2. Again, it has flight during your turn, and you can also heal it for a space in combat, or you can even amplify the heal effect and take 2 wounds off the dragon, so you can keep the dragon active, protect your jungle hunter if for any reason you couldn't level up, and he will make sure that your jungle hunter doesn't get the damage. It will stay alive until you are able to level up with solo attacks. I absolutely love this card. I just absolutely love it. It's just a great card. And then finally, our turn 6, we're not running any 7-drops. We have 2 newborns. Yet again, a creature. We stayed on this creature theme throughout the whole deck. It's a 6/6, 2 wounds. While the newborn is defending against a melee team attack, he strikes back against each attacker, same as the Hellhounds. And also he has Tantrum. During combat for a green, you can put 2+1/+1 counters on the newborn, or you can discard a green and amplify for 5+1/+1 counters, which is just, that's crazy. During combat, obviously, pumping a 6/6 to an 11/11 is mind-blowing. Plus, if you have Hitmonkey out, don't forget he's a creature, so that 6/6 is actually an 8/8. If your solo was out and the newborn did a solo attack as an 8/8, now it's a 9/9. Then you amplify for 5 more counters. You're looking at a 14/14 there for a 6-drop with 2 wounds. That strikes back against all the melee team attackers. So it's an absolute beat stick. As I said, it's an absolute beat stick. There's no 2 ways about it, particularly in this deck where you can pump it so many ways. Right, moving on to equipment. We are running 4 of the active camo, because it's just one of the best cheap equipment, particularly for predators. That +2/+2 is really good, that dodge is really good, that stealth is super good. It just really gives you everything. I mean, obviously you could run different equipment here as well, but all you're looking at is a equipment that you can just throw on that jungle hunter. If jungle hunter gets stunned, well, hey ho, it's not the end of the world. It's not super critical for the game, but the benefits you get from active camo is just definitely worthwhile running it. And this is the only equipment we run the 4 of. Um, Moving on to plot twists, we have 4 shock the system. In case your opponent decides to pump or something, you can just -3, -0 them during combat when they attack you. And it's just a really good little nerf card. When they attack into you, you nerf them, and then they won't get the KO. And just for funsies, we're running 3 Build the Hive. Again, one of my favorite plot twists. Build a hive, play it in your main, turn an enemy location face down. Just basically taking away locations from your opponent so they can't use it. I think it's excellent, particularly it doesn't do enough against the old Dark Phoenix deck that I used to play against, but it is good enough if your opponent doesn't hit the locations on curve, struggling a little bit, you can really hold them back with Build a Hive. So if they're not ramping, Build a Hive is a good card. Arguably, you should be running the full playset, but again, I haven't really found space for it. And I'm finally down to locations. I think the obvious one is the 4 trophy area. Obviously, we're running Predators, so you want the 4 trophy area. We're also running the 4 space, because we're a space / blue deck, and you want the space to be able to use Jungle Hunter. You also want the space to be able to use what was the other one? Do we have another one? I don't think we even had another one. Everything else. Oh yes, for Dragon. To heal Dragon, you need the space, and then you need the blues to be able to amplify the newborn, and particularly for Screeching Xenomorph, you want the blues. I'm saying blues is green. Clearly, the greens is what you need. Plus, also for the level 2 Jungle Hunter, you also want the green. And then finally, we have 3 copies of LV426. Because most of our abilities that we're using are all aliens. So we want to hold back those greens. We want to hold back those spaces for our Jungle Hunter if we can. Use LV426 instead. So I think this is a pretty sweet deck, guys. If you're just playing casually, I would definitely recommend to take it for a spin. I mean, it's really more of a fun deck than anything else. It's not super strategic. Just get loads of creatures out, trying to get creatures with the same name out, and pump them as hell. Realistically, again, you can cut that Electra if you really want to. It's just a spicy little addition. I could wholeheartedly recommend to run the 4th Build the Hive. Maybe run a completely different plot twist, maybe something that helps to pump your guys rather than just mess with your opponent's locations. But I thought that was probably enough pump in this deck as it is. We got the 4 shock to the system, so we got that level of nerfing. And ideally, yeah, maybe running another Lockjaw, maybe running another Screeching Xenomorph. Just to add more to that value train, or maybe running another solo. But you already have 8 copies of the Adolescent Xenomorph, their 1-drops. You also have the active camo, which is also 1-drop. So there's a lot of competition for your 1-drops already in this deck, which really makes me hesitant to include a 4th copy of Solo. Nevertheless, a really good card. A really good backup card, particularly if you don't get your Hit Monkeys or you can't play your Screeching Xenomorph. And you might just not need that much draw engine. Jungle Hunter might just does it for you. Of course, you need to find out by playing the deck. Guys, I really hope you enjoyed this quick video. As I said, there's nothing competitive going on here. I've not really been playing this game competitively at all. It's more of a self-reminder that this is how the deck is. When I take it apart, I'll be able to put it back together one day if I want to. But for now, I'll be signing out YouTube. Peace out. Saiyan signing out. Peace.